It went well. Yeah.
Okay, all right, thank God. So welcome to today's class, right? It's already 7, so we're going to be starting immediately because, as always, we try as much as possible to emphasize on timing, right? So today's class is going to be very practical. So for the persons on YouTube, please try and join the StreamYard, right? Try and join StreamYard because today's class is going to be very practical. In fact, we're not even going to be doing a lot of teaching. I don't even think we're going to be teaching anything today because of the type of class we have structured out for today. All right. So please, if you're streaming on YouTube, kindly join the StreamYard. Yeah, kindly join StreamYard so that we can proceed. All right. Kindly join StreamYard so that we can proceed. Okay, so just give me a second. Let me do something. Mhm. All right, so we are up and running at it. So throughout last week, we looked at a couple of things. All right, first off was our onboarding. We looked at who we are at the academy, what we represent, and all of that. Then we did introduction to impromptu presentation. We we learned about impromptu presentation, what impromptu presentation is, and how professionals need to master the impromptu presentation skill. All right. Then in day 2, we looked at thinking under pressure. We looked at how to think under pressure, which of course was quite an extensive class. All right. And then in day 3, we looked at frameworks. We looked at impromptu presentation frameworks and all of that. So today we are officially in week 2, day 4. All right. So today is week 2, day 4, and we are still looking at impromptu presentation mastery for professionals. And I'll be going on to the next slide. So today is impromptu performance lab. We're going to be looking at structure under pressure. All right. So for now, it's just Mr. Ademola that is here. Okay, so we would have to wait for like 2-3 minutes just so that other persons can join. The reason for this is because it's meant to be a surprise, but today is your continuous assessment. All right, so we're going to be doing our continuous assessment today, and it's not something that is meant to put anybody under undue panic or undue pressure. But the whole idea behind the continuous assessment is just so that we can make sure that this course is as practical as it was designed to be. Okay, because at the tail end of everything, you know, learning theory without practical is still the same thing as learning every other course that is out there on communication and presentation. But what makes our course different, or why we created this particular course on impromptu presentation, is that impromptu presentation is something that is an action skill. It means you have to do it, okay? It's just like when you want to go and learn a skill like tailoring, you have to sew to be able to say that you are a tailor. If they teach you tailoring verbally or theoretically, you would only know the concept of tailoring, but you would not call yourself a certified tailor. All right. Still the same thing that happens when you are learning how to bake. If they teach you baking in class with theories and you've not been able to practice baking, or you've not been able to cream a cake, right? You cannot call yourself a certified chef or a certified baker because you only learned this thing in terms of theory. You didn't learn the practicals, okay? And so, because of how practical today's class, I don't know if that's why people are running away from the class, because our our communication for today has been on how practical today's class is going to be, right? Because normally by this time, a couple of persons should have already come to class. all right, who should have already joined, but I really don't know why it looks like for more than 5 minutes that the class started. It's just one or two persons that are here already. And it also shows us a lot. It also tells a lot, okay? I do know that today is a work day and professionals might be on their way back from work, or they might be at work or caught up in traffic. But running away from these things will not change the fact that they are there. Okay, so what makes it relevant, or what makes the fact that this course was ever attended relevant, is the fact that you do know that this might be a challenge, and then you are ready to face it. Because running away from it would never be a solution. Anything that people run away from would always be a problem. All right. And so that being said, I would have to start with you, Mr. Ademola, because I do not believe in wasting anybody's time. All right. Or no matter how where we are, when people join, we will go back and then they will still take the test. So let's get into what we have for today, because time is of essence and there's no point wasting the time. So let's look at the outcomes for today, or the learning outcome, because somewhere along the line we will still have one or two lectures, right, or learnings. But by the end of this session, participants will be able to respond to impromptu questions confidently without freezing or excessive delay during live speaking drills. All right, so today is going to be a live speaking drill. Like I said, I won't be teaching anything. Like, the only thing I'm going to be doing is trying to, tell us where to do better and all of that. So today is mainly practicals. All right, so just give me 2 minutes. I mean, less than 1 minute. Let me get okay. Yeah, I'm back. Thank you so much for the 2 minutes. So this is supposed to be a score sheet. Okay, this is meant to be a score sheet, and it means that everything we're doing today is going to be documented. All right, so we are going to have to run this score sheet. And the truth is, if we run through everything, okay, Angela just joined. Hi, Angela. Good evening. Welcome to today's class. How are you doing? Hope you've had a good day so far. Hi, how are you doing, Angela? Good evening.
Good evening, Coach.
Yes,
I'm
how's it
fine. I hope
going?
you're fine.
I'm very fine. I'm much better, thank you. Yeah, so I was saying before you joined that today is going to be a practical class. In fact, today is supposed to be our continuous assessment test, right? So just because we've not gone so far in the slides, I think I'll just take you back a few seconds. Yeah, I mean a few slides backwards. So this is the introduction, and this is what we're doing today. Today is impromptu performance lab. All right. Structure under pressure, meaning we're going to be looking at your structure and your communication under pressure. And I'm just going to reiterate a bit, because I believe that we all have to be on the same page to be able to flow and work together accordingly. So I was saying that the whole essence of taking this course is just so that it doesn't become one of those skills that professionals take and then they take them in theory without actually practicing. Because most times when people take courses, you can only get certified in that course or in that field when you have been able to do the practical aspect of that field, right? So you can't say a person is a professional caterer or a professional chef if they learn catering on paper. Neither can you say that, oh, a person is a tailor if they only learn theory. All right. So it means that you have to practice. And in as much as this course is a virtual course, it doesn't take away the impact. All right. Most times people will always say, I struggle with virtual courses because I want someone to hold my hand. I think one thing with virtual courses is your commitment to it. That's what makes the difference. All right. So today we're going to be doing a test. And before you joined, I was showing Mr. Ademola something. I said this is a score sheet. All right, this is a score sheet. It's not PDF, or neither is it a digital score sheet, because I need to be taking this feedback like directly. I need to be writing it directly. All right. So it means that what we're doing today is pretty much serious. And throughout last week, we focused on the law of theory. We learned a lot, and I was the one doing the talking. So this week, we're going to be doing the talking, and I'll be doing the listening. All right. So what is the outcome for today? Because like I was saying before you joined, that at some point I'm still going to have to, add a few points here and there, chip in a few things, talk here and there and stuff like that. But at the tail end of everything, I think the bulk of today's class is going to be on the learners. All right. So if we go through the whole slide and we still have time, I'm going to have to wait for the persons who have not joined the class to join. All right. Until we exhaust our 2 hours and everyone is able to participate. Today's class is not going to end. All right, so let's get into it. By the end of this session, learners will be able to respond to impromptu questions confidently without freezing or excessive delay during live speaking drills. Okay, now you'll be able to apply appropriate speaking frameworks such as prep, what, why, how, with the story framework, right, which is the story framework, and then the pitch framework in real-time responses based on the structure of the question. All right. Now, the third outcome is you'll be able to structure spontaneous responses clearly with a defined opening, body, and conclusion under time pressure. All right. So for today, I'm going to be working with what's it called now? A stopwatch. Okay. I'm going to be using a stopwatch for today's class. Right. So it means that when you are asked to speak, I'll time you. Okay. So every session has its own time. All right. Every session has its own time. We're going to be having, I think, about 3 or 4 sessions where you'll be speaking. So this is the session breakdown, right? Part 1 is live drills, which is 40 to 45 minutes. Part 2 is teaching. And by teaching, I mean reviewing what was said. All right. It's not like I'm going to be teaching anything new. Everything we're going to be doing today is something that has already been taught. Good evening, Mr. Aliyu. It's good to have you. How was your day? Sorry, I just saw you now. I don't know when you joined. Well, good evening, sir. I hope you had a good day. How are you doing? Hope you
I'm
had a good day
fine.
too.
I'm fine. I'm just coming back from mosque.
Oh, welcome, sir.
Y-
Welcome.
You know,
Hope you prayed for all of us.
inshallah, may God Almighty answer our prayers.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you so very much, sir. Thank you. All right. So I don't know what point you joined us at, but today we're writing test. Yeah, it's not, I won't say test, but yes, it's test because it's scored. Okay. We're going to be taking these scores in real time. All right. So everybody has a column, and then you'll be you'll be graded based on how you are able to respond to the questions. All right, so this is the session breakdown. Part 1 is live drills. Okay, this is like 40 to 45 minutes. Part 2 is teaching, and by teaching, I'm not going to be talking about anything that is new. Instead, we're going to be looking at, you know, review and reinforcement of what learners struggled with during previous with using previously taught frameworks. All right, so we're going to be asked a question, and then we're going to see how you're able to use the frameworks to answer those questions. Now part 3 is going to be redrill. All right, so after we've reinforced the frameworks, we're now going to do another test again where we'll ask you questions and we'll see how you're able to apply the framework that was taught. And then part 4 is feedback plus takeaway. All right, that's the key takeaways and what you should always remember when it comes to impromptu presentation mastery. Okay, so let's go to the next slide. All right, now this is the first assessment test. All right, now the rules is you have 5 seconds to start speaking. So I can call you. Now the reason why I didn't bother hiding the question is because nobody's going to answer the same question. Yeah, no 2 persons are going to answer the same question. All right, so what I asked one person, I'm not going to ask the second person. So except maybe you want to be really fast at generating answers, but it's best you don't even put yourself under that type of pressure, and just try to refresh your mind on the framework that was taught and how to, just answer the question based on your own understanding. All right. So now the rules is we have 5 seconds to start speaking. There are no preparations, and the time frame is 3 minutes. All right, so you have 3 minutes to speak on the topic. Okay, so the question is, what is confidence? Why do people fail interviews? What makes a good communicator? Why is communication important? What is success? All right, so I want to know if we have any questions first of all before we proceed. Hi, Anne, welcome. Good evening. How are you doing? How was your day? Hope you had a good day. Good evening. How are you doing? Oh, I think I lost her. Oh, I don't know if she's still here. Hello, Anne. Hope you can speak because today's class, everybody's going to be talking though. There is test. So I'm doing test. We're doing test. So so hope you can
Hear
speak.
me?
I really don't know if
I
I
can hardly hear you. Can
Hi,
you
how
hear
are you
me?
doing? Hope you Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me now?
Hello? Hello?
Hello? Anne, can you hear me? Mr.
Yeah,
Demola,
but
please
it's
confirm that
very
you can hear
faint.
me. Can you hear me?
Yeah, but
Oh,
I'm straining my
it's
ears to
faint.
hear you. Yes.
Okay,
I don't know if
let
it's
me
my
know if that's
connection.
the
Let
same
me.
thing. Mr. Demola, is it the same experience at your end? Are you struggling to hear me?
No, I can hear you very, very clearly.
Okay, okay, thank you. So Anne, I think it should be your connection. All right. I don't know if maybe
Okay.
you can rejoin or something, right? So if you can exit and rejoin, then we can see if it will be better. But I was saying before you joined that today is test, all right? So while we are at it, I'm going to call the first person. Okay, so I'm going to call the first person that joined the call because I don't believe in wasting people's time because this person was the first person who joined the call, and by virtue of being prompt we have to do the person the honors of being the first person to actually attempt the questions, right? Now, like I said, we have 3 minutes. Okay, so Mr. Ademola, we're going to start with you. I want to ask, why is communication important? Okay, why is communication important? And I'll tell you when your time starts. Three, two, one, go.
Hello and good evening, everybody. So, thank you for the question. In my opinion, I feel communication is important because without communication, we cannot get things done literally in all aspects of your life, whether personal, at work, professional. You need to communicate. And what is communication? It's just the art of passing a message across effectively and the recipient understanding the message you pass across. So if you pass a message across and it's not understood, you cannot say communication has taken place. So the message must be understood by the receiver, and if the receiver is supposed to take any action, the receiver should be able to take the action. So why is it important? In your workplace, you collaborate with peers, you collaborate with subordinates, you collaborate with superiors. And there's no way you can get things done if communication is haphazard, if communication is not effective. Personal life also, you have associates, you have friends, you have family, all these people you relate with them one way or the other. So if communication is not effective, what you have is chaos. People not understanding what is being said, people not understanding what is expected of them. Lots of misunderstanding, lots of misconceptions. So generally, there will just be chaos, which is the reason why communication is important. Communication is a skill everybody must learn, old, young, educated, non-educated. It's something everybody must learn. So just to wrap up, communication is important, and not just communication, effective communication, where you pass the message across, the receiver understands the message clearly, fully, without ambiguity. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Ademola. Thank you. So I would not be giving a feedback for now until everyone is done, but thank you very much. You finished at exactly 2 minutes, 8 seconds, 59 nanoseconds. All right. So you finished at exactly, I was timing it. I hope you can see my timer. You finished at exactly 2 minutes, 8 seconds, 59 nanoseconds. That was when you finished. All right. And the time that was given was 3 minutes. But then, like we always say in class, if you pass your points, you don't need to exhaust the whole time. All right. I think that's the only thing I'm going to say for now. We'll have to call the next person. Okay, we have to call the next person. So person that joined the live was Angela. Hi Angela, good evening, how are you doing? Hope you're ready for us. Hope you're ready for us because you're the next person. I need to confirm that you can hear me. Can you hear me please, Angela?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay, great, awesome, thank you so much for that. So your question is, what is confidence? What is confidence? You have 3 minutes, but I will tell you when to start. Okay, so let me just write your name and the question I asked you. All right, so you start now. 3, 2, 1, action.
Hello, good evening, everyone. My name is Angela. For me, confidence is the ability to believe in yourself, to believe in what you are doing, to have the ability to speak clearly in a public space, to be able to express yourself, your ideas, as in connect with your audience when you are speaking. The ability to be able to process and coordinate yourself when speaking in public. I believe that's what confidence is all about. Confidence also can be, how will I say, can be quantified or can be clarified when you have a good, like when you are able to compose yourself together, when you have a good eye contact, when you are able to make your idea very clear to your audience, and when you have a very stable voice, like you're not shaking voice. Because for me, I think I'm having a little shaky voice now, but I know that confidence is when you are able to control yourself and not have the shaky voice, when you are positive with your language and the way you speak and your proper communication to people. Confidence generally is your ability to take control of your moments when you are the one to communicate to people. That's all I can say. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Angela, for that. Well done. I'm not going to say anything until everyone is done, but you used 1 minute, 37 seconds, 83
1 minute.
nanoseconds. That's what you
1 minute.
used. Yeah, I'm using a timer.
I
Yeah.
didn't want to exceed
Okay.
my time and I wasn't looking at the time. I would have said something more. Oh God.
You
1 minute
used
is
you
too
used
short.
1 minute, 37 seconds, 83 nanoseconds. So I'm going to have to write that down before I call the next
Okay.
person.
Okay, no
Yes, just give
problem.
me a few minutes, everyone. Yeah. 13783. Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Angela. So we're going to be calling the next person. Mr. Aliu, you joined before Anne, right? Yes. So, sir, good evening. Hope you are settled because I know you mentioned that you just got back from your worship center. Are you settled to speak, sir?
Hello, ma.
Yes, sir. Please, are you settled to speak at the moment? Are you good
Yes,
now?
yes, yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay. So, did you get the part where we mentioned the instruction, or did I have to take it again just to make sure
No,
that
no, no.
you?
I saw it on the screen. I think there's no problem.
All right, because before a couple of persons joined, I had already read out the instruction, but then since you said you saw it, let's get into it. So we all have 3 minutes to speak on a topic. So Mr. Aliyu, please, can you tell us what is success, right? What is success? Your time starts in 3, 2, 1, action. The time is running.
Hello and good evening, everyone. I'm Shaibu Aliu. To my understanding, success is nothing but ability, to meet target. Anybody that has met target, at least he can call himself a successful person. Success is nothing but trying to see that the goals you are aiming are achieved. In fact, it's not only organizational, but it covers, it borders around human being, organizations, communities, and so many things. Success is a major target of any organization for the organization to be successful so that it will achieve and at the same time to meet its goals. Success is fundamental because it's what everybody is aiming at. If we look at it, when somebody is studying, he's trying as much as possible to see that he successfully graduated from that institution. And if somebody is selling something, what makes him successful is ability, for him to have a higher turnover. I think without success, there is no anything that an organization can look at, and look and say precisely, this is what I have achieved. In other words, success is nothing but the level of achievement you have attained. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Aliu. Thank you so much for that. So you used please confirm. Okay, you used 1 minute 35 seconds on the dot. There were no nanoseconds in your own. So you used 1 minute 35 seconds on the dot. All right. And like I said, I wouldn't be giving any feedback at the moment, but I've taken it down. Okay, I've taken down the things I noticed. All right, so let me just write down the timestamp, and then we can call the next person to talk about, the next question. All right, so far I would say well done, everyone. I mean, not easy. It's not easy, but yes, well done, everyone. So we have Anne, right? And I think you're the next person that is going to be speaking. So I need to know if you've been able to fix your network and that you can hear me at this moment. Please confirm that you can hear me, please.
Hello. Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear. Thank you so much. All right, so
Okay.
just allow me to redo this. So you are aware of the rules, or do I need to read them to you
No,
again?
I'm
Or do I
not.
need
I'm
to
not
say it
aware
again?
of the rules. Yeah, please.
Okay. All right. So we're doing our first assessment test. And the first rule here is that you have 5 seconds to start speaking. So when I call your name, like I have, and I tell you your
5
question,
seconds.
you
Okay.
have only 5 seconds to put your thoughts in order. All right. Normally, it's not
Okay.
supposed to be like a free information, no preparation. It's just you put yourself in
Okay.
order, your thoughts in order, and then you start speaking. Then you have 3 minutes speaking time maximum. You shouldn't exceed 3 minutes. Okay. Now,
Okay.
I hope that's clear. Is it okay?
That's clear.
Can we
Emmanuel, you
proceed?
can come back. Oh, all right. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's okay. It's fine. Okay. So, tell us, please, why do you think people fail interviews? Why do you think people fail interviews? Now, in three, two, one, action. Your time is ticking.
People fail interviews for various reasons. One of which is poor preparation. If you're to go for an interview and you don't prepare well, for instance, if it's a job interview and you don't do a research on the company or probable questions or likely questions that could be asked, it could lead to a poor outing. Secondly, if you show up late for an interview, that also shows that you didn't prepare. Then poor communication skills, even when you're at the interview and you're being asked questions, if you don't marshal out your point, if you don't talk in a way to be understood, you could also fail an interview. Then people could also fail an interview if they have poor dressing. If you dress inappropriately for the interview, it could give a negative impression about you. Then inability to showcase yourself, inability to sell yourself could also lead to your failure. I think those are the few points that I have. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. So you
Yeah.
used 1 minute, 55
Wow.
seconds, 51 minutes, 51 nanoseconds,
Okay.
right? I'll take that again. You used 1 minute, 55 seconds, 51 nanoseconds. Now I would
Okay.
go to our feedback before we go to the next test, because it's 3 tests we are doing today. So today, my God is not teaching anything. ah, 1 minute 51. Okay, so let's go over to our feedback. All right. So thank you very much, Anne, for that presentation. All right. So the first person that spoke was Mr. Ademola, right? Okay. So this is our feedback and area of improvement. Okay. So there's a reason why I had to turn this slide, so that we're not focused on the slide, but we're really listening to the feedback based on what I heard and what I jotted down. So the first person that spoke was Mr. Ademola. And your question was, what is communication? You spent 2 minutes, 8 seconds, 59 nanoseconds to explain communication to us. And here's my feedback. Firstly, I observed that you were very calm and you reinforced your thoughts. Okay, you made a good conclusion by saying in conclusion, and then you shared your idea. Okay, what I picked out from what you said was that communication is important in every sphere of our lives. You gave emphasis as to how communication is important both for subordinates and superiors. You also gave instances as to how communication is important to the family, which is very good. All right. I did not notice you use any filler words, but because you turned on your camera, at some point it was like you were looking above the camera, right? It's like you were looking above the camera. Maybe that was your way of trying to, put your thoughts together, which is still very okay. We didn't really do any class on um, using the camera or camera practice. It is not within our scope in this particular course. But I think in case of next time, if you're going to be turning on your camera for any speaking engagement, whether an interview, virtual interview, or you're trying to make a presentation, maybe a virtual presentation on Zoom or anywhere, try to focus on the lens. Now, let me show us what the lens is. Okay, this is the camera lens. All right, this is the camera lens. Now, when you are looking here, it shows like you're looking at the person directly. It shows eye contact. Okay, when you're focused on this lens, it shows eye contact. All right, when you're focused on this lens, it shows eye contact. But when you look above this lens or you turn your face, the receiver is either seeing your eye up, right? Or they are looking at your view in terms of what you're looking at. All right, so they are trying to connect your facial expressions with what you are saying. Okay, they are trying to connect. He said, and you say you are correct. When I looked above the lens, I was trying to gather my thoughts. Very good, because I was paying attention to everything. All right, so in case of next time, you have to just focus on this part of the camera, the lens. Okay, it gives the person paying attention to you the feeling that this person is confident. It tells the person who is watching you that, oh, this person is confident, this person is staring back at me in the eye. Okay. Now, the reason why sometimes it looks like I look down or I look around is because when I'm using StreamYard, I can see everybody that joins the chat. I can see everybody that joins the chat. That's how I get to address people by their names. Okay. But when you are called up to make a presentation or you are speaking, right, it is always important that you look at the camera. And now, when you train yourself to look at the camera, your brain can function without your eyes moving, because whatever you want to say is not on the ceiling, it is in your head. Okay. So your ability to train your brain to function without looking above or looking below actually helps your brain to start thinking fast under pressure. I think that was the only observation I made about your own presentation, because you were able to coordinate your thoughts. Even at when you were trying to gather your thoughts, I noticed that you rather took a pause than use filler words, which is very commendable. So this assessment is graded over 10 because we have 3 sessions. In total, we're doing 30 marks. All right. So this particular one is graded over 10. And I'll have to say your score so that when you see your end result at the end of the day, you will not say how. So over 10, I'll give you 9 over 10, Mr. Ademola, because we're not grading you based on your eye contact or camera focus. We're grading you based on what you said and how you were able to put your thoughts together while making your presentation. So we're going to be giving you a 9 out of 10. All right, well done. Well done. Okay, so the next person that spoke, all right, the next person who spoke was Angela. All right, and Angela, you spoke on confidence. All right, you spoke on confidence. Okay, so in total, you spent 1 minute 35. No, oh yeah, in total, you spent 1 minute 37 seconds, 83 nanoseconds. All right, please correct me if I'm wrong, Angela. I want to be sure. Okay, you Mr. Demola said clap, clap, clap. Yeah, you deserve to be clapped for. All right, your presentation was pretty impressive because of how you were able to teach without losing your line of thought. All right, so Angela, you spoke on confidence. All right, and the question is, what is confidence? You used 1 minute 37 seconds, 83 nanoseconds. All right, now the first thing I would say about your presentation is well done. Okay, but I need you to understand something about communication and confidence. Funnily enough, you were talking about confidence, and somewhere along your presentation, you now admitted that your voice is shaking. You don't need to do that. Okay? In as much as we all could hear it, the moment you admit it, you put yourself under more pressure. All right? Because now you feel like you're a bit naked. Everyone has known the truth that you're scared or that your voice is shaking. We always emphasize here that the whole idea behind what we do at the Law Academy is not to make jest of anyone, but to ensure that the learning process is complete. Okay? And by that, we mean that you're not under any form of duress to prove a point, neither are you under any form of pressure. All right? We do understand that this is a learning curve for everyone, and it is expected that we can all be ourselves. Okay? Now, you also used some filler words. You used I believe, I believe, I believe. Confidence is when a person, I believe, I believe, I believe. If you're talking about confidence and you're using you believe, you are trying to sell us the idea. It doesn't tell us that you actually own this idea. All right? When you tell someone you believe something, it's like, join me and believe the thing now, even though this is my belief. Okay? In case of next time, if you lose your line of thought, or if you're trying to coordinate your thoughts, always start with what you know about confidence, you can actually use your own personal story. Okay. Now, what this does is that it gives you a soft landing. You don't necessarily need to define confidence, neither do you need to sell us your belief system. Instead, a better way to approach something like confidence or what is confidence is to actually tell us a personal story as to this was what I experienced and this is how I was able to build confidence. All right. For this particular exercise that we did, we're not limiting anyone to any framework. In our last class, we talked about different frameworks. But for today, I just wanted to see how we are able to handle pressure, not necessarily memorize frameworks. Okay. So those are the observations I made. Firstly, you acknowledged fear, which you're not supposed to do, because the moment you do that, you actually create a counter reaction in your own mind. You feel like we're judging you for admitting that you're being scared or that you are scared. And that's not always the case. Sometimes we just want to listen to you, not necessarily judge you. I don't think anyone is going to judge you here. No one is doing that. And just because we said it's a test doesn't mean it should make you scared. We have to tell you that it's a test so that the same amount of pressure you feel in real life when you are being put on the stage is the same amount of pressure you're supposed to feel when you hear things like, oh, this is a test, right? Because it creates that sense of panic that a real world speaking situation would actually create. All right, so for this first round, I would give you, in fact, let me not be the one to give you score. Score yourself. Angela, can you hear me? Please unmute yourself and confirm that you can hear me. First off, right, feedback is a
Can
way
hear
for us
you.
to learn. Okay, please, I want to sincerely appeal to everyone that we do not take this feedback to heart. It is just our way of ensuring that you get better at these things. Okay, so when we notice something, it's our job to actually tell you the truth as it comes so that next time or when you are in front of people, it's better that you, there's something that a friend of mine always says. He would say it's better that it is people inside your house that tells you that you have body odor, that when you go outside a stranger now tells you, and you come back and you realize that people inside your house have always known but they did not tell you, right? So that's an adage. It means that it's better that you do these things in a place where you feel safe, and then you get corrections or you get live feedback, and then when you keep practicing you get better, than for you to not hear the feedback and you go out and then it becomes a problem. All right, so Angela, please tell us, what should we score you? Hmm. Based on the feedback I gave, what should I score
To
you?
be honest, I don't know.
Eh, score yourself now.
Just, just, honestly, I don't know.
You don't know.
You are the what's the teacher. Whatever you
Examiner,
give is fine. Yeah, the
instructor.
examiner.
No,
I'm
score
here to
yourself.
learn, like you said.
Based on
I'm here
based
to,
on the feedback, based on the feedback I gave, score yourself. Score yourself. What do you think
okay,
that I should give you? Yes.
because it's a test, and
Mm-hmm.
I need to get at least the pass mark. So let me give myself a 7. If 7, I
Seven is
don't
not
know.
pass mark. Five is five. That is pass mark.
Now,
You want to go and give yourself A? 7/10 is A now, just like 70/100 is A
7 is
now.
5 is pass mark, but for the privilege I have to give myself a score, I had to now add something
So
to
you're
make
now
it up.
practicing confidence. In this is indirectly practicing the confidence you talked about. Oh. Eh?
I have to learn and make
You
sure
say
that all the corrections you gave now, I just wrote them down because I'm trying to prepare myself for the next. You said there will be a next round and the upper
Of
one. I
course there
don't
will be.
know. So
Yes.
I'm trying to prepare myself for that next
Okay.
one.
So since you gave yourself 7 and you said you want to give yourself pass mark, I will give you 6. 6/10
Oh,
is fair. All right. Yes.
okay.
So thank you. Yes. Thank you
All
so
right.
very much. I
All
like
right.
the fact that you were confident. At least you said I will take pass mark plus extra. That was really good. Well done. All right. So let me just take down your score. Mm-hmm. Okay, so 6 out of 10. Sir Aliu, you were the next person that spoke. Hi, AZK. Good evening. Oh, person has actually left. I saw someone join. One of the learners joined the studio. So Mr. Aliu, good evening, sir. Yes. So, you were given the topic, sorry, excuse me. You were given the topic, what is success? And you used 1 minute, 35 seconds on the dot. There were no nanoseconds in it. You used 1 minute, 35 seconds. Okay. And I think one thing I would say about what I've noticed so far as to your presentation is my network. Okay, please can you confirm that you can hear me? Because I got a prompt that my network
We can,
shifted. Can you hear
uh,
me, sir?
we can't hear you, but we can hear you now.
Okay, you can hear me now.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much. So, let me ask, at what point did you stop hearing me so I can go back to what I was saying before I continue?
Exactly when you mentioned the time I took.
Oh, all right. So I did say that you took 1 minute, 35 seconds and no nanoseconds. All right. So it's 1 minute, 35 seconds, 00 nanoseconds. Now, one of the things I noticed in your presentation is the fact that at some point, I think it was a little as to maybe 3, 4 seconds, it was like you rambled a little. And by rambling, I mean, you want to say something and then you're trying to reiterate that thing, right? Until the thought process became clear. But I did appreciate the fact that even though that thing happened for a while, you were able to get your thoughts together and still, you know, deliver on the topic that was given. All right. And what I want to say is outside what we are doing today, but I do remember that the first day we had a class, which was our onboarding, and you were called to make a presentation. I noticed that you had this filler word thing, like, yes, I did notice it and I mentioned it. And that presentation was about a few seconds, right? And speaking for 1 minute, 35 seconds, and you only used that filler word 3 times, because I was counting. If someone makes a filler word or you use a filler word, I count how many times it occurs, just so that I can be sure that this thing is a filler word, right? And not you trying to lose your line of thought. What do I mean? When a person has filler word issues, they use it consistently, not because they are losing their line of thought, but because it's a communication habit they've picked up. Okay. So sometimes there are people that cannot talk without saying, do you get? Ah, oh boy, I'm telling you, do you get? They must always say, do you get? And it's not like the person is not getting them. The person is really getting them. But because that thing is a communication habit, unconsciously they start using it. Okay. So I did notice that firstly you rambled a little, about 3 seconds, and then you picked your line of thought and you continued, which is very commendable. And then you used like 3 times, and then it stopped completely, which is also very good. Okay. So with that, what do you think I should score you, sir? Unfortunately, Mr. Demola, the spirit didn't ask me to tell you what I should score you, so don't feel bad. But I want to know, you know, what people
I
think
think
I should
I
score
think
them.
hello, hello, ma.
Yes, sir.
If I'm to rate myself, I think I'll get in between 6 or 7
Why? Justify 6 or 7. Why did you say 6 or 7?
because because I was able, to at least to control my thoughts and put them across.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Now, I'm going to actually give you 7.5. Now, the reason why I said that was when I asked you to justify your points, that was also another speaking test. Okay. And what I noticed was that you only said you were able to gather your thoughts and continue, which means what we have always said in class, that you don't need to exhaust the time given to you to send your point across. You just said you were able to justify your point and continue, right? Gather your thoughts and continue. So for that, I'll give you 7.5/10. Okay, 7.5. I'm not a wicked Nigerian lecturer. I don't used to use this mark and do anything. I'm going to give you 7.5/10. All right. So the last person
It's
that
okay.
spoke, yes. So thank you very much, sir. Well done. All right. I don't know if you consciously practice filler words, like trying to eliminate these filler words, but if you are, then it's really working. Okay. Because I remember our first class, I did emphasize on it because it was a lot as at then. But looking at where you started from and where you currently are, I can actually see that those filler words has been eliminated, and that's quite commendable. Okay, so if you are doing practice at home, please keep on practicing. If you are practicing with your colleagues at work, let it become a conscious thing that, okay, they have been able to identify this filler word, and I have to consciously eliminate it. All right, and then with time they will no longer be there. Okay, so the last person who spoke was Anne. All right. And hi, Anne. Good evening. Kindly confirm that you can hear me, please. Can you hear me? Oh, Anne, are you there? Because I don't want to give this feedback without knowing if you are here. Okay, okay. You didn't unmute yourself, but I did see in the chat that yes, you can. All right. So, you spent 1 minute, 55 seconds, 51 nanoseconds, right? And the topic you were given was, why do people fail interviews? All right. And I need to ask a question, Anne. Do you enjoy using um more like, is it a communication habit, or what was really happening at that point? I would need you to speak at this point, please. So if you can unmute yourself, let's really understand what really happened, because
Yes, it's
the
it's a communication habit, and I'm also trying to gather my thoughts.
okay, so it was doing a two-in-one thing for you. It's firstly a
Yes,
communication habit, and secondly, you were
yeah,
trying to gather your thoughts, because I
yeah.
counted the number of you used in a 1 minute, 55 seconds, 51 nanoseconds presentation, and they were 12 M's in a 1 minute presentation. All right. So I needed to understand if it's a communication habit or it's trying to gather your thoughts. Now, since you've admitted that it is both a communication habit and you trying to gather your thoughts, I do not really dwell so strongly on communication habits, because I do believe that it happens to the best of us. Okay, communication habits are things that people are already used to, but with time they will stop it, because when you are called to make a presentation professionally, some of those communication habits are not okay. They make you sound unprofessional. All right, now since you said you were using it to gather your thoughts, I do know that I used to see you in class. There are a couple of persons that when I see their names, I'm not surprised, because I know I see them in class. And I mentioned to us in class that instead of using filler words, continuously, all right, it is okay to take a pause. The question that was asked is, why do people fail interviews? And that particular topic has a lot of points if you actually slow down and think about it critically, all right? I know you mentioned a couple of points which were very relevant. You talked about communication, you talked about dressing, right? You talked about the time of arrival to the interview and a couple of other things. So you had, let me just say, if you had 4 points, okay, you had more than enough room to exhaust your 3 minutes. But what really happened was that since you were trying to gather your thoughts, you would rather conclude than actually look at how much space you have to pour out your knowledge. All right. And the reason why it's important that we give this feedback is so that in subsequent tests and then before our exam on Saturday, some of these things we begin to internalize them. All right. So the best thing to do when you have the urge to use just like or you know these filler words, when the urge to use filler word comes, the best thing to do is to take a pause. Now when you take a pause, it slows down the pressure that is happening in your brain. Okay, it gives you a clear direction as to where you stopped and what is the best thing to use in continuing your presentation. All right, now I need you to score yourself. Let's not be me. Oh. You're welcome. You said in the chat, you said noted, thank you. You're welcome. All right. So I need you to please score yourself. What should we score you? What should I score you? Because everybody heard the presentation. All right. Now, what do you think we should score you?
I'll score myself 5. Then you can add one more point for even making an attempt.
I really love every single person on this particular cohort. Like there's this confidence that everyone she said I would give myself 5. Then you cannot add one more point as per at least I tried. Well, yes, of course, I'll give you a 6. But if I'm going to be honest, because I did give Angela 6, and Angela's own issue was that she used filler words, but they were not as much as yours. I'm going to have to move Angela to a 7 because Angela's presentation was a bit, her filler words were not that obvious, right? And as much as she used filler words, for her own, I wasn't counting because the moment she acknowledged that she was tense, that was the first thing I noted because you're not supposed to do that, right? Now that was what I was paying attention to. But I also noted here that she used filler words, and now for transparency's sake, I need to show it so that we can actually say it. I don't know if you can say it, but I did Angela here and I used filler words, that she used filler words a lot, so it not look like I didn't write these things down. I wrote filler words here for Angela. All right, so I'm going to have to move Angela to a 7, and then I'll give you a 6. And okay, because you said I should give you 5 and then add 1, so I'll give you a 6 out of 10. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end of our first assessment. Okay, and the purpose of this assessment, as always, is to ensure that learning impromptu presentation doesn't become another theoretical experience. The bulk of what we crafted this course to be is the first week is supposed to be for practicals and frameworks. I mean, theory and frameworks, all right, where you learn what impromptu presentation is, situations, and everything that has to do with theory. And week 2 is going to be practicals and feedback. So this is what we're going to be doing today and tomorrow and then our exam. So I don't really think we're going to be teaching anything. But then let's go to the next slide and see. Now here we are. Second assessment. Okay. Now for this second assessment, we're going to be testing based on frameworks. All right. The first assessment, we didn't test using any framework. It was just tell us what this thing is. But this second assessment, we're going to be testing based on framework. And the framework that we're going to be using is PREP. All right. I'm not going to say what PREP means because I do believe that we had enough time to study what the PREP framework is. Okay, now we have 10 seconds thinking time max. And the reason why we are doing 10 seconds is because it is restricted to a framework. All right. Now, this is how we actually internalize the frameworks that we've learned and how most of them can be very relevant to helping us coordinate our thoughts. I'm not going to be defining what PREP means, but it is one of the frameworks that we studied in last class. All right. And now, the rule for this particular assessment is you have 10 seconds thinking max. That's 10 seconds thinking time max. And you have 5 minutes speaking max. Now, for this particular one, I'm going to be very time conscious. Not that you would say 1 minute and you will pause and will say it can fly. For this particular speaking, the max that you should exhaust at least 3 minutes speaking. Okay, so your score is largely dependent on how you are able to stay within the framework and speak for 3 minutes. All right, the maximum time is 5 minutes. Now we do know that maximum and minimum, it's like minimum you should not be below this and maximum you should not exceed this. All right, now I'm putting a benchmark that it should not be a minimum of 3 minutes and it should not be a maximum of 5 minutes. Okay, because we have had enough resting time, I'm going to actually call, who will I call now? Mr. Demola started the first time and he's been able to rest. But I will not call Mr. Demola. It's not always like that. Impromptu presentation is not by who did first. It's a drill. All right. So I'm going to be starting with Anne. Yes. Since you're already on stage. Hi, Anne. Please confirm that you can still hear me. Please, can you hear me? Hello, Anne. Are you there? Oh, don't run away. Is it network?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right. So please, did you hear the criteria?
Yes, I did.
All right. I'm very glad that we did. So as always, I'm going to use my timer. Now, I'm supposed to ask us to turn on our camera, but I wouldn't do that in today's class. But from tomorrow, the next text we're going to write, everyone would have to have their cameras on because we're also going to be looking at facial expressions as well as focus, right? The ability to not look up, look down, just focus, make your presentation, and train your brain to do the thinking and not your eyes. All right. So, Anne, we're
Yeah.
going to be asking you a question. Now, the question I'm going to ask you is, is failure necessary for success? Using the PREP framework, is failure necessary for success? I'll tell you when your time starts. Give me 2 minutes. Let me write this thing down. Now, this time I'm using to write this thing down is also a little window for you to be able to think. All right, so that you can calm down and think. All right. So,
Good. Good.
okay. So, in 3, 2, 1, action. Is failure necessary for success using the PREP framework? Your time is counting.
Yes, I think failure is necessary for success because failure is like a stepping stone in achieving success. Failure helps you build resilience. It helps you learn from mistakes because in succeeding, most times you need to know where you fail. You need to know where you erred before you're able to succeed. Failure helps you foster, it helps you learn more. For instance, if you're trying to build something and it doesn't work, like the man that tried to build the light bulb, he had to try about 99 times or so, and he got it right the 100th time. So if he did not fail for 99 times, he would not identify his fault and be able to work on them. Failure also helps you grow over time because it helps you build and learn more from your experiences. Failure, oh my God.
You still have time. So please take
Okay.
as much time as you need. You still have time, all right? No pressures.
Okay. Um, I think having to fail helps you um become better at whatever you're doing. For instance, a student that probably failed an exam the first time, having to rewrite it, the person will do better because the person will be able to identify his shortcomings and work on them. Oh my God.
Take a deep breath. Let me know when you want to stop. All right. Like I said, you still have time. So far, you've used 2 minutes, 57 seconds out of 5 minutes. So let me know. Do you want to
Okay.
continue?
In conclusion, I would say that failure should be considered very crucial when it comes to succeeding because it reveals, it makes you know the different ways things did not work so you could work on them better. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well done. Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you. All right. So in total, you used 3 minutes, 40 seconds, 65 nanoseconds. All right. So just before we call the next person, I want to write a few things down, please. Um, 3, 40, 65. Okay. So yes, we are going to the next person and we'll be calling Mr. Aliu. All right. So, sir, I did notice that your network was buffering, like you were entering the studio and coming back, like leaving and coming back. So, I want to be sure. Are you here now?
No, I'm using another device to enter the.
Sir?
Can you hear me?
Yes, but I'm hearing an echo from your end because I can see two of your names. Exactly. So, please confirm that you can speak now. Can you hear me? Hello, sir. Are you here? Okay, so while he's at it, we will call the next person because we have another test. I think I saw you unmute your mic. Sir, are you here now? Are you
Yes,
ready to speak?
I'm already in, ma.
Okay, okay, okay. Now the echo has dropped, and then the second name I was seeing is no longer here. So I think the echo was coming from your other device. All right. So, did you hear the requirements,
Yes,
or should I call it
I can
again?
see they're on the screen. I can see all the requirements.
Okay, okay, but I need to reiterate something. All right. So now you have 10 seconds thinking time, Max. You have 5 minutes speaking time. Now, like I said, in the 5 minutes, you should not exceed 5 minutes, but you should not go below 3 minutes. And you're going to be using the prep framework. Now, I'm not going to explain what prep is, but at the end of everyone speaking, we can now look at what prep is and see how we're able to use it effectively. Now, that being said, sir, your question is social media good or bad? Please explain why. If you say yes, you explain why. If you say no, you explain why. That is what that question means. All right. So please hold on. I'll tell you when to start. All right. So this time frame I'm asking you to hold on is so that you can put your thoughts together. No pressures. All right. Just give me 2 seconds, please. All right. So in three, two, one, action. Your time is ticking.
Hello and good evening, everyone. I think the issue of social media is fundamental. It's something that, in fact, it's a must now because social media is nothing but trying to avail us with the opportunity to connect using invisible, platform. In other words, social media help us to connect, conduct businesses, and conduct so many things. The importance of social media cannot be overemphasized. Sorry, social media is key and fundamental for any development of any nation, country, or whatever we can call it. In fact, it's with the aid of social media we're having a class of this nature. So this is a very good example of importance and why we should have social media. Social media also help us to reduce costs. It also helps us to connect promptly and respond to challenging, issues. Especially, we have information at our disposal. In fact, without the current advent of the social media, wouldn't have reached to us some level of development that we are having now. In fact, the importance of social media in the development of any economy cannot be overemphasized. In fact, social media is key and fundamental. But the only thing that needs to be done in social media is to regulate the conduct of social media practices so that it can be conducted in an ethical, and a convenient manner. Thank you very much for listening.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Aliyu. So, you used 2 minutes, 3 seconds, 96 nanoseconds. All right. And I'm not going to say anything as per the feedback like I did in the first session. I'm just going to allow everyone speak. Then, after everyone is done speaking, we would now, give our feedback. Annie, you said you are learning. We are glad that you are learning. All right, that's the whole idea behind what we are doing. We are really glad when we hear feedbacks like this that you're learning, and it's quite encouraging. All right, so the next person we're going to be calling is Mr. Ademola, because you have rested enough. We are the first person that spoke, and a couple of persons have spoken before you. So we're going to be calling Mr. Ademola. Mr. Ademola, please confirm that you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you clearly.
All right. Thank you very much for the feedback. So, do I need to read the questions to you, the instruction, or do you need clarity on anything before we proceed?
No, I'm very much aware of the instructions, so I guess it's just to get
Okay.
my question aside.
Okay. All right. All right. That works. Okay. So, Mr. Ademola, your question is leadership natural or learned? I'll tell you when to start. Let me just write your question. All right. All right. So, in three, two, one, action. Your time is ticking.
Okay, good evening, everybody, and thank you for this very interesting question. Is leadership natural or learned? This is a very interesting topic and one that many people have an opinion on. Quite a lot feel leadership is natural, and a lot of people also feel leadership is learned. From my own perspective, I think leadership is learned. So why do I say so? Yes, history is history is full of people who are natural leaders, people who just by nature are outgoing, very outspoken, and confident. So they just naturally assume that position of leadership. But that does not mean if you don't have those qualities, you cannot learn to be a leader. You have various people who, despite their natural inclination to be quiet, their natural inclination to withdraw and prefer to be in the background, they've learned to overcome those shortcomings and become leaders. And even when you have that natural ability, leadership also comes with some certain traits that if you don't learn and structure yourself, you end up being a bad leader. Let me give you an example that may shock some of us. We all know Bill Gates. His products are everywhere. How many of us know that Bill Gates is naturally a shy person and an introvert? He prefers to just be subsumed in his work and do what he loves doing, which is tech. But he learned to overcome those shortcomings to be a leader. Why did he have to do that? Because he had the company he was building. And if you don't assume that leadership position to drive that his vision to put that company into a world-class company, we won't have Microsoft today. Abraham Lincoln, one of the most popular US presidents ever, was also a shy person. But because he was entering politics, he needed to overcome those his natural shyness to become a leader. So those are just few examples to show that yes, you can be a leader, you can learn to be a leader. So in conclusion, I would like to say that while we do have some people who are naturally leaders who are born that way, that does not mean everybody has to be born that way to be a leader. You can be a leader no matter your background, no matter your inclination, no matter your temperament. You just need to learn through mentorship, through taking leadership courses. There are many ways to learn and build yourself up, and you'll be a leader just like the best of them out there. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Ademola. So, you used 3 minutes, 4 seconds, 71 nanoseconds. All right. You used 3 minutes, 4 seconds, 71 nanoseconds. Okay. So, thank you very much. We're going to call the next person, which is Angela. Unfortunately, we have one question left here. And Angela, you've seen this question for way too long. And I will not be using that question. That is why it is called impromptu presentation, right? And there's a reason why it's done that way. Because this question has been on the screen, which is why students, should students work while studying? All right, that's the only question that has not been attempted. And we're not going to ask you that question because it wouldn't be fair to other persons who had to think on the spot. All right. Now, I'm not saying that, oh, there's a possibility that, okay, probably that, oh, this person has actually seen that this is the only question that is remaining, and then they'll quickly want to make a research on it. No, I'm saying that for transparency and accountability and fair play, it is better we go to the next slide and look for a question. Good. I've seen one question I would ask you that is in line with what we are doing. All right. Now, Angela, please confirm that you can hear me, please. You said you didn't think you would
Yeah,
make the cutoff. Well, you
I
did.
can hear
Yes,
you.
please confirm that you can hear me. Okay. All
I
right.
can
Thank
hear
you
you.
very much. Okay. Thank you very much for that. Now, your question. Okay, now before we ask a question, all right, I need to confirm. Should I reiterate the rules, or are you okay? Should I tell you the question? The question is not on this slide. Sorry. So should I just tell you the question?
You can just go ahead with the question. I already know the rules.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. So your question is, what is personal branding?
Sorry, come again. What is what?
Personal branding. Did you hear me?
Yeah, if I can get you right, you said what is personal branding?
Branding. And why is it important? Yes. What is personal
like
branding and why is it important?
like a branding something.
Okay, okay. So I don't know if you have an idea as to what personal branding is. So I'll leave that question, all right? Because normally personal branding simply means the ability or the act of an individual to create an identity online or anywhere in general that people attach to your personality. That's what personal branding is, okay? But since it looks like there's a fundamental mismatch as to what the question really is, I would actually stick to the question that you were supposed to answer, but I felt like for fair play, it is best, you know, we give you a new question so that everyone is on sync. But then since we are already almost like 30 minutes to the end of the class, let's just stick with the question that is here. All right. Now the question is, why should students work while studying? All right. So just allow me write the question before you start. Now this time, you already have enough time. Please start. 3, 2, 1, action, because you already have enough time. Your time is ticking. Please start. Thank you.
Hello, good evening, everyone. My name is Angela. The question is, should students work while studying? For me, yes, it's very important. If not for anything, for self-development, for experience in life, student needs to work to help yourself to gain the experience, because most time when you graduate as a student, your experience can help you get a job faster. Your experience can help you able to, as in mingle, as in stabilize in the system. So you working helps you to support yourself, to gain that experience, and for financial gains too. It is good for a student to work because it helps you interact with people who has already have experience in that your field. Because when you are working, like, that's why most time in schools they have period where they will ask you to go for an IT. It is the experience they are talking about. But you working while you're studying, the only difference is that this time around is financially attached, which is also important, because you have to build yourself financially too, because financial responsibility helps you as an adult too. So you as a student working, it's like a two-way thing. You are gaining experience while you are working, while you are studying, right? So it helps you adjust immediately after school. For example, if a student who has worked for 3 years of her study and that which has not worked at all. Once they graduate, your CV is going to say a lot about you. And me, that as a student that has worked before, I already have experience. I can just put in my 3 years experience. The other person that does not have experience will not have something to put in the CV. And that already is an edge between me and my colleague. And I can bet you when employment comes, when a job offer comes, you find out that the person that has experience will be considered first because of your years of experience. And that's the importance of you working while you're studying. It really doesn't mean that you lose focus because you are studying. No, it's just letting you, it gives you edge for you to be vast, for you to think, for you to work properly, for you to organize yourself, have more time to articulate on what to do when you are supposed to work and when you are supposed to read. It does not have to affect your studies. Simply, it helps you build yourself, to organize yourself properly, to make you know what and how to go about life, so that when you begin to face life challenges, you easily adapt to whatever comes your way because you already had the experience. Why the ones that come out of school without work experience are trying to struggle? You're already ahead of them. That's one thing I know about uh, what I can say that is good for a student to work while studying, because the experience you gain while working, it's something that you don't take for granted. I was discussing with a friend 2 days ago and I told her that, to be honest, if you work as a government worker and you retire and you go to your village to contest for like a councillorship or a chairmanship, or maybe just like a leader in your area, that they should be considered first, because the kind of experience you have is not something you can buy anywhere. Working in an environment is a whole lot of experience on its own, and that gives you an edge as a student to help you succeed fast and far in life. That's what I can say. Thank you.
Beautiful. Sorry, I had to say beautiful because I was worried for you. You used 4 minutes, 49 seconds, 59 nanoseconds. I was waiting for you to say thank you so that you don't exceed the 5 minutes, time. And that was really impressive. Well done. Well done. Well
I
done.
wrote down, what happened is that I wrote down the time I started, the minute I started. I wrote it
Oh,
down
really?
in a sheet
I
of
had
paper right in the morning. So I was looking at the time here and I make sure that I didn't exceed.
Yeah, because I was worried for you when you kept talking and I had not said thank you. Right? So you used 4 minutes, 49 seconds, 59 nanoseconds, and that's pretty interesting. Hmm. Okay. So I don't think there's anyone that has not been called, right? I mean, everyone has been called. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end of our second assessment. Okay, so let me move this slide. Peer-to-peer feedback and areas of improvement. Now, for this particular assessment, we were supposed to do a peer-to-peer feedback, meaning, you were all supposed to give each other a feedback. However, there's going to be a little plot twist, especially because we were emphasizing on a framework. Okay, at the end of my review of each person's presentation, I'm going to call someone to score the person. All right. So I'm not going to ask you to score yourself. I'm going to call someone to score you, but I'm going to be the one to give the feedback. Okay. So the first person that presented was Anne. Hi, Anne. Are you still here with us? Are you still here? Good evening. Okay, yes. So you said yes, that you are still here. All right. So your topic your topic was, is failure necessary for success? And for this particular presentation, we were all asked to use the PrEP framework. And we know that prep simply means point, reason, example, point. All right. So first of all, you used 3 minutes 40 seconds. You said in a bid to avoid you kept mute. Why? Come on, why? No, 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 no. Look, I like I always say, this place is a safe space for everyone, all right? So if you naturally have, what's it called, filler words, you use filler words, or it's like a natural communication characteristics, use it as much as possible here. But the main thing is to be conscious of it until you are able to do without them. All right, so please don't choose the safe space. Typing can be safer, all right, but it doesn't actually stretch you to overcome these things. It actually makes you stay in your comfort zone, and comfort zones are not really good. All right, so please, whenever you want to speak, please speak. Okay, although I saw the humor there and it was quite it was quite interesting. All right, so like I was saying, the framework that we're supposed to use is prep, which is point, reason, example, point. All right, for and you used the prep, but you didn't finish it. Now, you gave your point, which is you acknowledge the fact that yes, success is important for failure. I mean, for failure is important for success, rather. You said yes, you agreed to it, that it is important, right? It's okay for people to fail and then they pick up. And then the example you gave, right? The person that created the light bulb, you said he tried 99 times. He actually tried 999 times. All right. He tried 999 times. Okay. So it was in the 1000th attempt that he actually got it. All right. So he tried 999 times. Now I had to note that down. All right. Then at some point, you allowed the pressure of the moment get to you. And so you had to stop. You said Jesus. You made it obvious to us that you were under pressure. Okay. And looking at your first speaking, where you used but you didn't stop, and this second one, it felt like maybe you would have preferred to have enough time to gather yourself, because you were the last person that spoke and then we called you up immediately. But the whole idea behind this drill is to ensure that these things become a part of us, all right? Because in the real world, most times there might not be any time for us to rest or catch our breath, all right? But that's not going to be an excuse. I just had to say that in terms of putting myself in your shoes, right? Sometimes when you get called immediately after you just finish speaking, you might need some time to put your thoughts together. And I'm saying this so that we all can actually, tender justice with mercy. For whoever that's going to be called to review or give her a score, I'm saying this just so that you understand the reason why it might be fair that she had to stop at some point, because she was the last person that spoke in our first assessment, and just immediately she had to speak again. All right, so there was little or no time in between for her to make her presentation clearly. Okay, but that being said, you used 3 minutes 40 seconds 65 nanoseconds. So on time, normally if you are able to stick to time, you get 5 marks from me. All right, so for all the persons that stuck to time, you already get 5 marks from me. Now whoever is going to be scoring you is going to be scoring you over 5. Okay, so whatever they score you, I'm going to add +5. For instance, the person gives you 1, I'm going to do +5, that's 6. The person gives you 2, I'm going to do +5, that's 7. All right, now the reason why I had to stick to time is some speaking situations actually require that you are able to stick to time. All right, and it is important that we get used to speaking with time. All right, so because you were on time, you were able to stay on time, you already have 5 marks. Now I'm going to be calling who am I going to call now? Okay, I'm going to be calling Anne. Oh, I'm seeing 2 Anne here. Did you log in with 2 devices? Let me not go and make mistake. But I think you logged in with 2 devices, because I'm seeing 2 of you. at the back end. All right, so I'm going to call Angela. Angela, please give her a score over 5. Angela, can you hear me? Okay, yes. Please give her a score over 5. Thank you.
Yeah, I can hear you.
You heard her presentation, right? You were here when she presented.
Yes, I did.
Okay, yeah.
I
So please
did.
give her a score over 5.
Okay. Let me give her 2.5.
2.5 over 5. Okay.
Yes.
So plus my 5 because she stayed on
Plus your
time.
5
That's
becomes
7,
7.5.
7.5. Okay. All right. Thank you very much for that. 7.5 over 10. All right. So the second person that spoke was Mr. Aliyu. Okay, so he just came back to the chat. Sir, please can you confirm that you can hear me? I want to know that you are here before I give my feedback. Hello, sir. Are you on the call, please? Sir Aliyu, please can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, ma.
All right. So I was about to review your presentation, but I wanted to be sure that you were on the call. All right. So I don't know if you heard that the criteria for what's it called now? Getting my own teacher score plus, your peer review is that every speaker must at least use a minimum of 3 minutes, and your colleague would score you based on the remaining 5 minutes. So if you're able to stick to the 3 minutes time, you get 5 marks from me. All right. And then whoever is going to be called to review your work would actually judge based on the 5 that is left. Okay. So, sir, you used 2 minutes, 3 seconds, 76 nanoseconds. Okay. So I wrote the time down here. You used 2 minutes, all right, 3 seconds, 76 nanoseconds. Okay. Now that is actually below the 3 minutes cutoff mark. All right. And if you actually go below my 3 minutes cutoff mark, you get 2.5, which is half. Okay. Because assuming you used up to maybe 2 minutes and 20 something seconds, I will have said 3. All right. But it's 2.5 because you did 2 minutes, 0.3 seconds, 76 nanoseconds. Okay. Now, since you were within 2 minutes out of 3, all right, a fair thing to do would be we'll do 3 over 5. Okay, so from my end, you're going to get a 3 over 5 for not making it to the 3 minutes cutoff. All right, now I'm going to review your presentation. All right, now we do know that the framework that was asked for us to use is PREP, and PREP means point, reason, example, point. All right, so for the presentation, you're expected to give your point, you give the reason why you made the point, you give an example, and then you conclude with another point. All right, and now your question was, is social media good or bad? Okay, from your presentation, you were in the affirmative that social media is actually good because it has led to positive changes. All right, and now that is point number 1, which is positive changes. Now the point number 2 you gave was that it should be controlled, meaning that you were able to do point and point. That's the first P starting for point, and the second P, which is closing, which is another point. All right, you're able to do that effectively. You gave your point, which is social media is good because it is a reason why we have experienced a certain level of change. And then you gave a closing point, which is it should be controlled, which is very valid because social media has actually, led to a lot of depression and people losing their selves because they got thrown on social media. And now you gave an example, which is under E. You said you used the class that we are having as an example. You said using our class that we are currently having as an example, we are able to learn effectively because of the advent of social media, which is also very correct because without social media, we'll not be able to do this class. All right. The last one is reason. Okay, you were also able to give your reason by stating that social media has been able to make communication easier for persons. Okay, so we would say that you were able to successfully use the prep framework. You gave your point, you gave the reason why you made that point, you gave an example using our class, and then you gave a point to conclude it, meaning that it should be controlled. All right, so for the prep framework, we are able to do justice to it. Now, for the presentation in itself, okay, at some point you made a few, we like to say they were quite, negligible. We could actually overlook them, like use of but it was a little. And then at some point you made a mistake and then you said sorry, then you continued, which is also very natural. All right, so I would have to leave that as it is. For the time, okay, I'm going to give you 3/5, and then I'm going to call someone to give you a score. Okay, that's how we do it here. Now the other 5 is going to be peer scoring, not me. The other 5 is going to be peer scoring. So whatever they give you plus the 3, I'll add it together and you get your score over 10. Right, so I'm going to be calling a man, and the only person that is another man we have here is Mr. Demola. So please, Mr. Demola, give him a score. Thank you. Over 5.
Okay, I will give him 4/5.
All right, why do you give him 4/5? Justify the 4.
Okay, the justification twofold. First, he was able to use the prep framework just as you mentioned. That was very good. And secondly, while he was able to do the prep framework, he made one or two errors, but they were negligible in your words. So I feel with that we should give him. He can't get a 5, but we can give him 4.
Don't be a Nigerian lecturer now. If he merits 5, give him the 5. you know, it's Nigerian lecturer that will say 1 mark belongs to the teacher. All right, but so since he said we should give him 4, fine. We'll now give Mr. Aliu 4 plus my 3, which is 7/10. So well done, Mr. Aliu. Now you see that when I give my own time based on my own score based on time, and a peer or your fellow learner gives their own time, it makes it justifiable. So the next person I'm going to call, okay, Mr. Demola, you're the next person though. So pray that whoever I call gives you is fair to you. All right, so let me just write down Mr. Aliu's score before we can move on to the next person. Okay, but before we move on to the next person, I need to ask, sir, Mr. Liu, so when you were speaking, right, was there like this consciousness of not to exceed the time, or were you actually done speaking so we can really understand what happened?
I think precisely I wasn't conscious of the timing.
Oh, okay,
I
okay,
think that
okay,
that was the main reason, because I was thinking I'm to exhaust 3 minutes. So that was why I
okay,
try as much as possible to finish everything within a very short time frame.
okay, okay. And that's
Yeah,
the
but
reason why I used to ask if I should say the instruction again so that we are all clear as to what is expected of us. But I just needed to know what really happened. So since you said that you were being conscious of the time in that you didn't want to exceed 3 minutes, the real time was, the maximum was 5 minutes, all right, and then the minimum was 3 minutes. So you could actually exceed 3 minutes, but do not exceed 5 minutes, all right. So now that we are clear on what happened, don't worry. Next one, I'll make sure that I read the instructions so that even if we admit that we actually know the instructions, I just have to read it to make sure that all of us are on the same page. All right, so Mr. Ademola, you are the next person. I'll add you to stage while I look at what you did. Okay, so your topic was, is leadership natural or learned? Using the prep framework, which is point, reason, example, point. Firstly, I would want to not analyze based on the framework. I would look at the time that you used to make sure that, my own time, you can get my 5 marks. So you used 3 minutes, 4 seconds, 71 nanoseconds. Okay. So this is, I don't know if you can see it, but here is it. 3 minutes, 4 seconds, 71 nanoseconds. Okay. So you use 3 minutes, 4 seconds, 71 nanoseconds for your presentation, meaning that you have automatically gotten my 5 because you stayed on time. All right. So whatever we're going to be analyzing is going to be based on your ability to use the framework and then how you were able to communicate your idea. So, like I said, your question is leadership learned or natural? Or is it natural or learned? You gave your point, all right? You said that leadership, in as much as it can be a natural skill, it is also learned. That was the first point you gave, all right? Now, in between that point, you had a place where you rambled for about 2 seconds, all right? It was like you were trying to say something and you kind of whether you sped up what you wanted to say or you were trying not to lose your line of thoughts, but you rambled for 2 seconds and I wrote it down, but it's quite overlookable. Okay. And now you gave your reason, all right? And you also gave an example using Bill Gates, who is currently the owner of Microsoft, and although he's a natural introvert, he had to learn leadership in order to successfully run a company, all right, which is also very commendable. And then you actually concluded with your usual in conclusion. All right, I think among all of us, you're one person that always says in conclusion, maybe just to bring our minds to the fact that you're ending, which is also very necessary because it prepares the audience to receive the fact that this person is about to end what they are saying. Okay, so you were able to use points, which is the first P in prep. You were able to give us your reason, right? Looking at orators from the past, persons who were great speakers in the past. And then you were also able to use an example, which is Bill Gates. Okay, you were able to give an example, which is Bill Gates, and you concluded with your in conclusion by mentioning another point. All right, so I won't be the one to score you. Okay, and then I just saw in the chat that you said you ramble sometimes because you stammer a bit at times. It's not obvious that you stammer, but then that's noted. All right, for someone who actually stutters and you've spoken in the first class, in the first presentation, and this particular one, I didn't really notice it. All right, and that also shows that you are learning how to control that situation, which is also very commendable. Okay, so we're going to be calling who have I not called to give a score? All right, we're going to be calling Mr. Aliu. Yeah, Mr. Aliu, did you hear? I didn't hear. Sorry, it's not complete. Mr. Aliu said something in the chat. He said, "You think Mr. Demola is a what? What does that mean? I didn't really get it. Is he a class teacher or what? I didn't get it, but I don't think Mr. Aliu is here. So I'm going to call someone else. And please, can you give Mr. Ademola, has Anne given a score? Between Anne and Angela, who has not given a score, Seth? Can't remember again. Angela, please, have you given a score? Have you?
Yes, I
given
have.
a score? Okay, yes, you are
Yes.
the first person that gave a score. Yes, so I think it's Anne that has not given. Okay, so Anne, please tell us, what will you be scoring Mr. Ademola based on his presentation?
Okay, I didn't actually hear his presentation, but based on your feedback, I'll give him a 5.
Okay, a 5/5.
Yes.
Very
I
serious.
did honestly
All
I
right.
didn't hear, his presentation. I heard that of Angela and Mr. Liu, but I didn't hear his.
Okay.
But
Okay,
based on the
okay,
feedback you're giving, yes, I think he did quite
okay,
well.
okay. All right, all right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for that feedback. Okay. So, Mr. Ademola, if someone didn't hear your presentation and based on my feedback, they were able to give you a 5, I'm not going to contest it. All right. Sorry, Mr.
Hello, ma.
Aliyu, are you trying to say something? Yes, sir. Go ahead,
Yes,
please.
yes. I was talking. It's like you are not hearing me.
Oh, let me explain how this thing works, okay? So if you are not added to the stage, you can be talking, but I won't hear you. Until I add you to
Okay.
the stage, that's when you can talk and I can hear you, okay? So in
But
case
but
of next time, just put it in the chat that you want to speak. I'll read the chat and I'll
okay.
add you to stage, all right?
Oh, okay. Can I speak now?
Yes, yes, please go ahead.
I think if I'm to rate Ademola, I will also give him 5
Oh, wow, two fives.
because
Ah,
no,
Mr.
no.
Demola. Oh,
I think the reason is that look,
okay.
man. The reason is that
Yes.
he's very calm. He's very calm.
Yes, yes,
Yes.
yes,
If you are very
yes.
calm, you'll be able to control your emotions.
True. Very true.
Yes.
Very true.
So
Very true.
I'll give him 5/5 exactly.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Uh,
Okay. 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 Oh, Mr. Demola, I hope you heard that you are giving 5/5. Oh, so I'm seeing that you just entered. You just entered the stage. I need to confirm. Wait, let me add him to stage first and be sure that he heard. Where is he now? Okay. Mr. Demola, did you hear?
Yes, I heard I got a 5 just before I got thrown out of the meeting.
Oh, that should be network. So you got two fives, okay? Two persons gave
Yes,
you a
okay.
5,
Hmm.
which is very
Oh,
commendable.
wow.
Well done. Because
Interesting.
I first called Mr. Aliyu to score you, but I think network affected him, so he had to leave. Okay. Then I now had to ask someone else to speak, and she gave you a 5. And then when Mr. Aliyu joined back, I was asking him, because he was trying to indicate that he was trying to speak. And then when we unmuted him, he said he was also going to give you a 5 because you were very calm. So that's quite impressive. Well done, Mr. Ademola. So you see that the fact that you said you rambled because you stammer is not really a determining factor as to what people heard. Okay. So well done. Well done for that. All right. So you had 10/10. Amazing. 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 So let me take your score down. Oh my god, we have about 8 minutes to round up this class. So our next test is going to be tomorrow. So tomorrow we'll continue because I wouldn't want to keep us beyond 9 p.m. or a few minutes past
Hello,
10.
hello, ma. Hello,
Yes,
ma.
sir. Yes, sir, please. I can hear you.
Tomorrow is Salah Day. Are we having classes tomorrow?
Oh, I mean next tomorrow, our next class, not
Okay,
tomorrow,
okay.
sir.
Next tomorrow. Okay. That would
Yes,
be
yes,
fine.
yes, yes.
Okay.
Oh, so shall you bring meat for all of us in this class?
I'll, I'll send it online. Everybody will have it.
Okay. All right. No problems. Thank you so much,
Okay.
sir. All right. So the,
Okay.
the last but not the least person is Angela. But yes, Angela, you're the person that used the highest time. Let me confirm that you can hear me first before I speak. Okay. Where is Angela? All right. Hi, Angela. Please confirm that you can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you. Sometimes you speak and it looks like you're not hearing the person.
Okay,
And
so
I
like
don't
I
know why.
explained, right? No, so here's the
Mm,
thing.
because I
The way
wanted to
this
concur in Mr. Dewala's score too, that he deserved the 5. But I was
ah
speaking
ah
and it looked like you're not hearing me. So I don't know.
oh, so okay, let me explain the way this particular platform we're using works. Okay, in most online classes, when the person is teaching and then it is not controlled, sometimes you can be hearing background noise. All right. So the reason why we use this particular platform, which is StreamYard, is until you're added to stage to speak, you can be talking in the background and nobody's going to hear you. All right. Now, the reason for that is so that we can have decorum, okay? So that once you're called upon to speak, we all know that you're the one speaking. And when you're not speaking, nobody can hear you so that you don't distract the class, all right? So, like I was saying, in case of next time, if you want to speak, just drop it in the chat. All right. The moment I see the chat, I know that, okay, you're trying to speak. And then, after what I'm saying, I can now read your chat and let you speak, okay? So, Angela, you are the last but not the least person to make your presentation. And I'm going to say this. First of all, you used 4 minutes, 49 seconds, 59 nanoseconds. All right. So you in fact you used the time. So my 5 for the time is pretty much exhausted. You justify the time, all right, which is very impressive. And you were supposed to speak on using the prep framework, which is point, reason, example, point. Okay. So at first you gave your point, and your question was, should students work while studying? All right. And you gave the affirmative. You said yes, students should work while studying. All right. Meaning that you support the motion that students should work while studying. At some point, after you gave your point, you rambled a little for about 3 seconds, which is quite overlookable. All right. I have it written down here. Whatever you do while you're speaking, whatever everybody does, I write it down so that it's not coming from my head. So at some point, I wrote it that you rambled a little after you gave your point. I hope people can see me. After you gave your point, I wrote it down here that you rambled a little, but it's like for 3 seconds, so it's quite overlookable. All right. And then you gave your example using the CV, okay, that a person who has worked and a person who hasn't worked, that when you check their CV, it is not the same thing, all right, which is quite impressive. All right. Now, at some point, it was like you wanted to lose your line of thought, so you took a pause, and that's very good, because I remember that from your previous presentation, okay, you were one of the persons who, you know, at some point it was like, okay, you were trying to get your line of thought and all of that. But for this particular presentation, what I noticed is that even when it looked like you tried to lose your line of thought, you actually stayed calm and you took a pause. All right. And I commend you for that. All right. Now, you also were able to use the exam. In fact, you used two examples. You used one as to the person who has worked before, the person's CV actually looks more coordinated. And you also use an example based on the conversation you were having with someone as to if someone has worked in the civil service and they were able to retire, that the person should be given any role that they are applying for in the community because this person has gathered a lot of experience, which is a second example. Okay. And then you were also able to conclude. So I would say that you were able to do, justice to the framework, which was what we're testing for. All right. I personally, I was testing for time and then your ability to use the framework. So for my own time, all right, you have the 5/5 because you said you had to write the time that you started down, which is something I also wanted to speak about. Okay. When you are given a time, write the time that you started down. All right. When you write the time you started down, it gives you direction. Okay, I know that I have 5 minutes and I started at this time. Now, if I'm going to stop before the 5 minutes, I need to be conscious of when I started. All right, so that was a very smart move and I do commend you for that. So for the time you have 5. Now, I'm going to be calling someone to give you a score. Okay, now because everyone here has given a score, Mr. Ademola has given a score, Mr. Liu has given a score, Angela has also given a score because she was the one that scored Mr. Ademola, even though she said she didn't really hear what he said. Now, I would also have to call Mr.
Sorry,
Ademola
I'm not
again.
sure that Mr. Adewala has given his call.
Mr. Ademola has given a score. He was the one that gave Mr. Liu 4.
Yes, that's true.
Yes, he was the one that gave Mr. Liu 4, I remember. But I'll still call him again because it happened some moments ago. So please, Mr. Ademola, based on Angela's presentation, please give her a score. Thank you. Over 5.
Okay, based
You
on her
see,
presentation and your review, I will give her 5. Can I also say
Wow.
that can I also say that based on what you just said now during her review, where you said you are scoring based on time and prep
Mm-hmm.
framework. Before
Okay.
now, I thought it was based on prep framework and the content and your delivery. But if it's based on only prep framework and she stayed with the framework, I will give her 5. And that
Okay.
should also apply to Mr. Aliyu. Since he aligned with the prep framework and stuck to it, he should also get his 5.
Okay. Okay. All right. So you are saying that you were the one that gave Mr. Aliyu his score, and you're also giving Angela her score. So if you're saying that because Mr. Aliyu stuck to the prep framework, we should move him to a 5 instead of 4, it means we're going to
Yes.
change his score from a 7 to an 8. All right. So Mr. Aliyu, we have done Happy New Year for you.
It's
Sorry, ma.
happy. It's happy Tala, not happy New Year, ma.
I know, Happy New Year, sir. So I've moved you to an 8. Happy Salah. I've done Salah for you. Happy Salah. Okay.
Okay.
And then Angela also got a 10 because she got 5 from my end and 5 from Mr. Ademola. So she got 10 over 10, which is quite impressive. Somebody was saying something. Sorry.
Yeah, it's me.
Okay. Please go ahead.
Okay, I wanted to say, based on Mr. Demala's analysis, so I think Anne, to Miss Anne,
Okay.
I want to give
Okay.
her
So
a
you
4. Yeah,
okay, you want to give her a 4.
yes, because
Ah,
I was trying to look at like that time she paused because it was kind of lengthy, but based on the points you are trying to mention now,
mm-hmm.
I think she deserved a 4 because she
A
did well
4.
too. Yeah, even though she paused, but
Okay.
she did well.
Okay. So it means that not before you gave her what's it called, 2.5,
Yes.
because she stayed on time and got 5 from my end, and you
Mm.
gave her 2.5 plus 5, which is 7.5. That's what I have here. So if you are giving her a 4, it means that she's moving to 9 over 10. You people are so cooperative in this
Yes,
class,
ma'am.
eh? Ah ah that's nice. So where is and has been moved to a 4. And so what do you have to say to the very kind person that gave you a 4? Is she here? Okay, I don't know if she's here on the call. All right, everyone. So we have come to the end of our first and second assessment. I mean, this assessment was very interesting for me, okay, because I had a first-hand view into everyone's mind. But then, if you have any comments, any contributions, I think we'll have to take that before we do our final announcement and close for today, okay? So please, if you have any comments, any contributions, what you observed, what you felt, how you felt, can we hear that? All right. Okay, so we're supposed to have a third test, but we're going to do this one in our next class. Okay, so you said you have a question. All right, so Demola says you have a question. How do you time yourself when you have a minimum time you have to speak for, just like this test, especially when there is no clock or timer to guide you? All right, now I'm going to have to ask Angela to answer that question because she actually did time herself without us telling her to do that. So, Angela, please can you unmute yourself and answer the question Mr. Ademola asked? He asked, how do you time yourself when you have a minimum time to speak for, just like the test, especially when there is no clock or timer to guide you? How do you time yourself?
Hello. Hello, ma'am.
Yeah, I can hear you. Yes.
For me, I believe if there is no timer, like to guide you a big time where you're going to look at your time, what I did was I just checked the time on my laptop, wrote it down. It was the 22. In fact, I concentrated more on the minutes. I left the hour so I don't get confused because the time is short for me to start doing the calculation. So I just picked the minutes. So it was 22 minutes at that point. So I just wrote that 22, knowing that since you gave us 5 minutes at max, so 22 is supposed to be, it shouldn't exceed 27 minutes. So I was watching, when I was speaking, I was looking at the minutes to make sure that it's not up to 27 minutes before I round up. But in a situation where there is no time, I don't know. I think it's something that one can just, these days we go about with our phones. So I think it's something you can just look at your phone, just glance through and look at the minutes. That minute will help you as in process the time so that you'll be able to make sure it doesn't exceed. That minute will just already give you the minute you are going to round up and make sure you don't exceed your time. That's what I think. I don't know.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Demola, does that answer your question? Because today I'm not going to be talking anything. Everyone is going to be scoring and reviewing. Mr. Demola, does it answer your question, please?
In a way, yes, but not completely.
Okay.
You know, this
Okay,
is a
so what
controlled
else are you
environment. This is in a controlled
what else?
environment, so you have access to. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, go ahead, please.
Yeah, this is a controlled environment where you have access to paper to write at the time you start, have access to look at your laptop to see the time you started. In a case where, for instance, you're in a meeting, and just walking down the road, you bump into an interviewer who asks you a question. How do you time yourself? There's no paper to write down the time you start. There's no clock to look at. Your phone is in your pocket. Or you went for a meeting and suddenly you are called upon to give opening remarks. Please give us opening remarks for 3 minutes. You can't pull out your phone from your pocket to check the time. So how do you time yourself? Is there a way to just mentally time or pace yourself?
Okay, so since Angela has answered the question, all right, based on what she did, for me, I'll personally say that if you're given a 3 minutes time frame, the moment you start talking, you should mentally make a note as to what I've said so far. How many minutes has it captured, or how many minutes has been captured? For instance, if I'm given a time frame as to speak for 1 minute, I know that within 1 minute, there are certain things or certain lines I shouldn't exceed. So what I'll mentally do is to look for a framework that can be contained within 1 minute. All right. And we all know that the easiest framework within 1 minute is prep. Point, reason, example, point. Okay. It all depends on the situation. But I think the best way to do this is to have a mental spacing in your head. If they give you 1 minute, you should actually ask yourself, what I've said so far, as a listener, have I been able to listen for 1 minute? Okay, it's more like you are answering the question and also acting as the audience. It's something that you have to train your brain to do automatically. But because we live in an economy or in a world where we have access to time, I'm not really seeing a situation where this case you mentioned is 100% possible. Because if in a speaking environment, for instance, let's say you are called up to make a presentation, normally most events have like a digital clock where you can actually see the time. All right. Also, your device is always close to you. You have a wristwatch on your hand. All right. So if you are wearing a wristwatch, you can actually adopt the method that Angela talked about. Don't focus on the hour, look at the minute. If they tell you 3 minutes, just make a mental note, look at your watch, and know that between the 5 and the next 5, 3 minutes should be in between. Now, like I always say, there's no rule anywhere that says you must exhaust the time. But what is most important is that you ask yourself, the duration I've spoken for, what is the possible time frame? Okay, and that would automatically guide you as to knowing when to stop and when to continue. All right, so I hope that really answers your question. And if at all you experience that speaking situation, please share it with us. We'll be more than willing to learn from the experience and what you were able to do. Mr. Demola, is that okay? Is it okay by you?
Yes, it's okay.
All right, all right. Thank you so very much. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of today's session. As always, I really want to thank everyone who was able to participate in today's class. All right, and as much as I made sure that, the team and I were able to communicate the fact that this week is going to be practical. I really commend the persons who showed up, who took the bull by the horn and participated in today's, activity. The whole idea behind these things is, for every skill you want to perfect, doing it is a way of perfecting it. Like I would say, you cannot say you want to become a tailor and you are sitting down and taking notes from the seamstress. You cannot call yourself a tailor that way. You are only a theoretical tailor. The same thing applies to impromptu presentation mastery. The more we do it, the better we get at it, the easier it becomes. All right. And now I'm going to use Angela as a case study. Her first presentation, which was on confidence, she used a lot of filler words. She acknowledged the fact that she was scared, even though the time was short. Now, by the time we're able to do the second test after the feedback and all, she was able to score a 10/10. Even though, yes, she paused a little, rambled a little, but the fact that she was able to speak for a longer time, in fact, she was the person that used the highest time. From now, she moved from using filler words, acknowledging being scared, to exhausting her time and speaking clearly. It shows us what is possible when we continuously practice. Okay, the reason why I'm using something that happened before all of us is so that it doesn't look like these things are theories that are written somewhere. It clearly shows us that the more we do these things, the better we get at it. So when we put up an activity or an exercise, it is just so that these things are not like every other course you have taken out there where you learn practical, practical, practical. I mean, theory, 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 and there are no practicals. All right. So to everyone who showed up today, who gave their best, who learned on the spot, I really do commend everybody. Okay. And one thing I've noticed so far is our ability to learn on the spot. And that is what impromptu presentation does. And that is also in relation to one of the courses we took, which is thinking fast under pressure. The ability to take correction immediately and get back at it and do it better is the whole idea behind this course. So, ladies and gentlemen, with no further ado, I want to call this class to a close and to also remind us that our exams are coming up on Saturday. Like I said, I might not. I'm not saying I will not. I'm saying I might not be the examiner. All right, I might be the timekeeper. Someone else will be the one examining us. We're going to give the person a criteria to judge with. All right, now today we had a feel of the criteria, which is sticking to time and the prep framework. That is like having a feel as to what the exam is going to look like. So when you're giving a criteria, it means that this is what you're being tested with, not by your presentation, but your ability to use certain frameworks, okay, or stick to certain times. So the criteria will be enlisted to whoever the examiner is going to be, and you're going to get scored based on that. All right, so far we've been able to do justice to today's test, and I really do commend everyone. So by the next class, or before the next class, we are going to mail your score to you over 30. Okay, it's supposed to be over 30, but it's going to be over 20 today because we're not able to finish the other tests before our time ran out. Okay, so we're going to mail what you scored over 20 in preparation for the next test, which is now going to complete the 30. All right, so once again, we do appreciate everyone for taking this courageous course and for showing up with courage and a teachable spirit. We do appreciate you all, and enjoy the rest of your night. Tomorrow is Salah, Mr. Aliu. I don't know if you're on the call. We wish you happy Salah. All right. So everyone who is celebrating one thing or the other, or you are in your learning process, we celebrate you and we are always cheering you on. All right. So we'll see you in the group, and good night, everyone. Bye-bye. Bye.